Good morning or good afternoon, whatever you see in this video. Welcome to my course about basics of cytology. Before we start, you need to know this course is just a startup point for students they new in biology field. I am going to explain basics with a brief information. Don't worry, there are another video called Cytology Details where I goes deep in cytology course. And one more thing, I am a human being and all humans do wrong. If you found anything wrong, please comment below and I will pin your comment and thanks. So anyone who start study biology need to prepare himself to hear some word that going to confuse you and said, man, what? But no worries, they are very simple and I will explain them very simple in simple way to you to understand them all. All you need to do is pay attention to me and concentrate. By the way, I have hair I have hair. That's the teacher is not me. So let's start first with definition of biology. The word biology is derived from the Greek word bios, meaning life, and logos, meaning study, and is defined as the science of life and living organisms, like humans, animals, and on the other forms of life that we can see with our eyes, like bacteria, aka germs. So let's go to tree of life. The tree of life is in biology splitting the form of life in three different domains. We have eukaryotic, which contain animal, plant, fungi, and other a lot of forms of cell. We have the second one is bacteria, which contain a lot of types, and the third domain is archaea bacteria, which contain the very oldest bacteria. Also, this domain archaea was discovered in the 1977 by Carl Richard Woose. Before that was only two domains, eukaryotic and bacteria. However, archaea and bacteria they are two both in big domain called prokaryotic. Don't worry, I'm going to explain every single word you hear from now, you hear now, and you will know the difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell. So let's go and see the cells in microscope. So before we go, we see biology is basically studying cells, and to define the word of cell, follow this simple explaining. The human contain inside them system like digestive system, immune system, and others. All the system contained a lot of organs. Those organs are made of a lot of tissue. One tissue is made of a lot of cells, and that what's mean of that what's mean the meaning of word cell. It is the smallest structure unit of organism that is capable of independent function. So far so good. Now let's go and see the cells how they looks in microscope. So first, what is a microscope? You can say that microscope is like a zooming lens. Because of them we can see cells and study them. And there are two difference of microscope, two types. The first one is lighting microscopes who use for seeing cells shape and behavior. But we can see inside this cell. For that, they are the second type is electronic microscope. However, I encourage you to do some research about the story behind this great invention. So let's go now and see the animal cell. This picture is for animal cell viewed by lighting microscope. Like you see, there are a lot of cells compared to each other, and in the middle of each cell there are a purple circle. That is the nucleus, and she has a big role. We see it in further course. For now, you need to know that she helps the cell for staying alive, also duplicating the cell and many other functions. Each cell is separated from another by cell membrane, like he appears. Just notice for you, this is not the color of the cell, They are colored in order to appear more clearly in microscope lens. Now let's see the planet cell. In the other hand, we have the planet cells, also appears to many cells compared to each other. That science word to many cells compared to each other is multicell. Both animal and plant cell call multicell. Both have a nucleus, and here she is appears like a dark blue in this because of the color, of course, and each cell separated from another by cell wall, not a cell membrane. Planet cell looks like a geometric shape with sharp corners. So now we have seen planet and animal cell microscope, and both the cells they call eukaryotic cells. Now let's go and see bacteria in microscope. But first, what is a bacteria? Bacteria, aka germs like we call it, bacteria is the oldest living organism on earth, even older than dinosaurs. Can you imagine the earth is 4.6 billion years old, and the bacteria is 4 billion years old, like the research says. Bacteria are so small that you can see them with your eyes. We found them on all over the place, in your hand, inside your body, in surfaces, in any place you can imagine. Now, in this picture, you see a bacterium on microscope, like she appears. She appears like a stick. It's called bacillus shape. We can find it in many more other shape as well. The bacteria are independent cells. They are not combined like the previous cells. The science term for this situation is unicellular, not multicellular like we found in the plant and animal cell. Bacteria is unicellular. Each cell is alone. Notice, but the bacteria are cannuli group like these two root shapes that appear to you. We call it the diplocoque. Now let's dive in the anatomy of eukaryotic cells, and let's start with an animal. The shape of animal cells look like a spherical or almost like an egg surrounding the cell, a membrane cell, who separated the inside cell from outside. Because of electronic microscope, we're able to know the content of the cell. So let's start discover by one by one. The most important organ is the nucleus, like we talked a while ago. Inside the cell, we found the chromatin. He looks like a fine line and is the genetic information. A nucleus also. It's a small spherical structure. All of this we found them among nucleoplasm and inside the two circular nuclear envelope, and we find this in this nuclear envelope pores. We call them nuclear pores. We found on the nuclear envelope an organs called the rough reticulum endoplasmic. So what is the genetic information that I said before? A very simple explanation, so you can stay with me. You see your color of your skin and your eyes and your hair, all of this is responsible by the chromosomes, aka the genetic information. And from where we get those chromosomes? Well, you get them from your beautiful parents. Don't worry, I'm going to explain each organ alone and give you the maximum information you need. The third organ is the mitochondrion and is responsible for generating energy for the cell. That means she likes like an electricity generator that gives you power to all the cities. The fourth organ is the ribosomes. They work like a translation. They read the genetic code coming from the nucleus. How is that? Well, be patient. I will explain it later on in this video. The fifth organ is Golgi apparatus that helps process and package protein and lipid molecules, especially proteins, destined to be exported from the cell. So you can tell this. You can tell that the Golgi machine or the Golgi complex is like a transporting company of the cell. The sixth organ is cytoskeleton, and there are three types of it: microtubules and actin filaments and intermediate filament. The cytoskeleton have a lot of jobs like transporting element inside of the cell and maintaining the cell shape. The seventh is centrosome, and his major job to regulating during the cell division. The eighth vacuole are generally small and helps squeeze their waste products. In planet cell, vacuole help maintaining water balance, so you can say that the vacuole are like a dump site. The ninth is peroxisome, are microbodies we found inside the cell, functioning like your personal trainer for cell, like burning fat. The tenth is lysosome, and they work like a bodyguard for the cell. And all these organs are swimming in gelatin substrate called cytoplasm, carrying and preventing them from falling on each other. Now let's go to the plant cell. The plant cell has all the organs that we have mentioned in animal cell with the additional organs. The first one is cell wall that we have seen in the microscope a while ago. His major job is protection. The second is chloroplast, and her major job is converting the sunlight energy into chemical energy to growth, of course. So now let's talk about bacteria, which is defined like a prokaryote cell, and we already talked about eukaryotic cell, which are are plant and animal cell and many others. So the major difference between prokaryotic and eukaryotic cell is the nucleus. The eukaryotic cells have a nucleus inside them, but the prokaryotic they don't have a nucleus. So let's go on to and talk about bacteria. It's very tiny organism that you need a microscope to be able to see them. The bacteria are considered like the oldest living organism on Earth. According to some researchers, bacteria is 4 billion years old, and the Earth is 4.6 billion years old. Other researchers said that bacteria is only 2.5 billion years old. You will find the source of information in description box, of course. We said that bacteria is a prokaryotic cell because she don't have a nucleus, and her genetic information is free in the cytoplasm, and they call it nucleoid. A bacteria don't have that much organs. She have a few mutual with the plant and animal cells like ribosomes and cell wall and membrane. The cytoplasm, and of course she have other secondary components that present in some types of bacteria and missing in others, like flagella who helps her in moving. We will go through every single one in bacteriology course, so make sure you subscribe. So let's stop here before we go on further in this course, and it's quiz time. Let's see how you concentrate in me.
So prepare yourself for the quiz and let's see how far you was concentrating with me. We have a 10 quiz. Every quiz is on 2 point. That means the total is 20 point. So in every single quiz, just pause the video and concentrate and thinking wisely. Then answer the question. Let's see how much you can score. Now we end the part 1 from this course. I don't want to make this course more longer so you don't get bored with me or you lose your concentrate. So this is the part 1, and the part 2 you're gonna talk about the nucleus in more details and in a very simple way. See you again in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.